Hey, welcome back to another Market Watch video. These have been very popular for the channel, and so I'm having fun doing it, and you seem to like it, so we're going to keep doing that. As always, I'm going to start off with my own personal collection here. You can see it's a lot of first chapter, a lot of Stitch, and then a lot of princess characters, along with the Lion King. I do have Sealed in there, so this is how I like to collect. I think if I'm going to be talking about the market and talking about my opinions on stuff, you should have the transparency to know where I'm putting my money at. So you know that I think, as honest as possible with my opinions, my thoughts on this, because it's where I'm putting my own money at with it. So you can always check me out on Collector there, follow me on Instagram, subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying this sort of stuff and you want to see more of it. More subscribers we get, more support we have, the more I'm able to continue making videos like this. So if you're enjoying that, please let me know. It means a lot to me. We had a lot of growth on the channel. I think we had 13 new subscribers over the past week, which was huge for us. So thank you so much. I was really excited. It was a super motivating, super positive week for me. So if you don't know me, a lot of Lorcana, just a nerd who spends way too much money on shiny cardboard, all his disposable income basically. So there's three different areas of topics I want to talk about today. I want to talk about meta changes and prices. I want to talk about the difference between market price and listed prices on cards and what that means for you, especially in Lorcana. And then I want to talk about recent sales and opportunities to collect cards cheap if you don't care about the value that others have for it, but if you want to collect the artwork of the card. So let's get into it. Big thing up first, we're looking at meta changes with this. So we have the first up, Ursula Voice Sealer. This is a super rare foil from Fabled. It's now going for effectively $10. I know market price is showing it like $8.49, but if you're paying another $1.79 in shipping, not including any taxes on it, like, it matters. Obviously, when Fable first came out, you get that FOMO. I talked about it last video about trying to get cards right when they come out is very expensive. If you're needing it for a competition, I'm sorry, that's kind of how it is. If you're a collector, then you can wait on these things, right? It dropped, and then now it's shooting back up. It's got to be meta relevant, right? This is what this sort of thing is telling you. Along those lines, one of the points I really wanted to make out is the doc put in effort to make the new releases, or the leaks, they're not leaks. Lorcana is admitting or sending that information out themselves, so it's the reveals, right? That's the word that I should be using for that. She put together a bunch of reveals for me to react to, but if you're not watching the reveals and you're in the collecting side of business, potentially buying and selling, I think you're likely making a potential mistake. You should be watching those sorts of reveals, because those cards that are coming out are going to impact the meta. And if you're able to get ahead of the meta, then you may be able to buy things at a cheaper price before stuff starts spiking up, or look to acquire, trade, whatever it is. And then you can also track when, as the meta explodes, that's when you're looking to sell, because as we'll see later, as the meta shifts, if you're not selling when it's popular, you're making a mistake. It's going to go back down. And as more supply hits, prices are going to go down. We saw that last week with Lilo, the best explorer ever. Huge surge in the value, the price of that card, because it was super meta relevant. And I think it sold like over 1,000 copies of it. There's that much supply. It's going to meet the demand. Prices now, I think, is under $2 and something like that, right? So that's kind of the volatility that we're dealing with in Lorcana. And if you are in this short term, you really have to track the meta. If you're in this long term, then you're more of a mix of where I'm at, especially on the personal side, and you don't really need to pay too much attention to these things outside of when prices drop and it's a good buying opportunity for you, right? So with the reveals, if you're a long-term investor, hey, they're cool. It's nice to see what's coming out, seeing the Demona, seeing the symbol. If you haven't watched that, awesome. Not a big deal, right? But if you're short-term, you really need to be paying attention to this sort of stuff, because it is going to impact prices of cards. So we got Ursula. We see price shift on that one. I think this one's absolutely crazy one. Bobby from the Goofy movie became super meta relevant. It is screamed up in value. $7 for the foil on this. It's just a one-drop card, and it's an uncommon. So think about that. If you're opening Fabled, even if you're not opening a whole lot, there's a good chance the foil card that you're getting is either common or uncommon. So being able to sell it for $6-7 for an uncommon foil, not including what your rare or your 2 rare cards will be in a fabled pack, can be very good for you. So if you're sitting on this card, maybe because it's a foil and you didn't even know you had the card, this is probably the best opportunity you have to sell it, because once enough supply hits on this one, guaranteeing this one is going to go down in price again. It's an uncommon foil. There's just too much of it, right? And I don't say guarantee a whole lot when it comes to the Lorcana prices, because the market can stay irrational for much longer than you can afford to stay in the market sometimes, right? And it applies to this. This is all speculation, but there's no way this price is staying high for that long. It's going to come back down, and then maybe over a period of 10-15 years in Lorcana, prices go back up on something like that, as you know, cards get destroyed, lost, things like that. But for right now, this is coming back down at some point. So realistically, I'm going to be looking to see if I have this card available to be able to put it on TCGplayer, because yeah, as I said, it's going to come back down. So last thing about TCGplayer, another announcement I forgot to say is we are now a level 4 seller. And I do know that people watching this video have bought some of our cards on TCGplayer. Thank you so much for that. I really hope you're happy with the cards. How we pack things, how we treat our cards. Personal opinion is to treat the cards as well as if they're going to stay in my collection forever. And I hope you're seeing that in how we handle things. So there was a person who actually bought the Enchanted Power Line greatest rock star in the world who watches the YouTube channel. I'm not going to reveal any more information about them because obvious reasons. I don't need to explain that. But thank you so much for the kind words, for the review, for watching the channel. I really hope you're happy with the power line. If you're grading it, hope it comes back as a 10. And you know, thanks for all the support and stuff. It means the absolute world to me. We're very excited to do this. We're vending at the Pikes Peak Card Show, hoping to do Dallas Card Show. We're going to start buying more Lorcana cards, hopefully from the local community, and ideally we'll be able to, you know, sell those things and stuff. But I'm thinking for certain cards, I always want to make those visible on TCGplayer on the YouTube channel and stuff. So I'm trying to figure out if it's more important to me to, if we're pulling Enchanted and you're buying those, that the people watching the YouTube channel get a chance to buy them first than us listing them on TCGplayer, right? Because there's a delay between when we record and when the video actually comes out. And during that time, we could put something on TCGplayer. And right now, I'm really just tempted to just say, hey, like, it's a card. If the price goes down on it a bit, okay, so be it. It's not the end of the world. And I really think for like the higher end cards, the stuff that the collectors are going to want, like if you're watching this, that I'm going to wait to upload things on TCGplayer until after the video comes out. Maybe give it like an hour or two after the video comes out. Then we upload it on TCGplayer, and then it becomes fair game at that point. So this is not something I've talked about with the doc. I'm going to discuss that with her. I think for some of the lower value cards, it just would become too tedious, too much of a problem with it. But if we're talking Enchanted at a minimum, I think that's what we're going to end up doing in the future with it. So if you like that, let me know. If you don't like that, also let me know too. I want to do something for people that are watching the YouTube channel. So I do appreciate that support, but maybe it's unrealistic, maybe it's not fair. It's just an idea I had that I wanted to bring up. So always appreciate feedback and what you want to see occur with the channel and how we're selling cards, right? Because this is like a side business that we do, but realistically, we're just trying to have fun with it. That's the money aspect of it, is the money aspect. We want to have fun. Isn't that right, Sahana? Sahana's down here. I can't really lift her up. She's got arthritis, but she is next to me getting pets right now. So if you see me looking down this way, my shoulder or anything else moving, it's because the Sahana is here. If I don't, you're going to hear her bark. So we'll see what happens. So, okay. Next big topic is the difference between market price and most recent sale. And with Lorcana, this matters a lot. Keep in mind, the market price is compiled from recent sales completed on TCGplayer. I haven't clicked this link, but I think what is missing from this information, if you're into mathematics or things like that, is like how this average is calculated. I assume it has to be a rolling average, but is there a certain amount of time or number of sales that goes into the market, or is it some sort of combination, like maybe a linear combination of the two? I actually don't know this, but it is very useful information that I would like to have, because there are times where there are big difference between the market price and the lowest listing or what it is currently selling for. The data that the doc pulls for me is based off of market price, and a lot of people price things either on eBay or they might sell it on Discord or Facebook Marketplace. Like the market price is $86. I'm like, yeah, but the lowest listing on this is 72. Like I'm not going to pay you $86 or even a percentage of 86 if I could go on to TCGplayer and buy it $14, $15 cheaper. And as we go into the next example, on the flip side of that, right now, market price on Lady Decisive Dog is $114, except the lowest listing right now is $179. And after that, it goes up to $225. That's a huge difference in the price, right? So if you're only looking at market price and not most recent sale, you are potentially making a big mistake. Sahana, get your butt over here. Come here. Yeah, I love you. Yes, you're a good girl, but you can't be barking. You could potentially be making a big mistake, costing yourself money, or potentially costing yourself sales if you're trying to sell something, right? If you had the flip side of this, which I think I have an example coming up. Yeah, I think we go Jafar Striking Illusionist. Market price is $77, right? Most recent sale is $62. If you're trying to list something at $77 or even $75 and no one's biting on that, or people are like, that's ridiculous, this is likely why, right? An educated buyer, an educated seller, which if you're watching this channel, I want you to become. You understand the difference between what a rolling average is of prices versus what the card is actually currently worth and what it's selling for. Just because data is outdated on both Lady and Jafar does not mean that a buyer or a seller is willing to part with it for that outdated data. Sorry, that's a bit of a word jumble in there, right? But if your information is wrong, then that's on you. So these are the things that as you become more educated in buying and selling, I want you to be looking at, because it makes all the difference in the world, especially for something like Lady. So this obviously has to be a big meta trend here. No doubt about it. It's not a collector piece at this point. It's simply too new. It's from Reign of Jafar. But what a huge price jump on this card. And when the doc pulled the data, this did not show up on the largest deltas. The Ursula and the Bobby showed up on the deltas, which in fairness, it's a big delta, right? I think it's like 30% price increase. So that's a big deal. But because the number of sales or the time hasn't kept up with this just yet, we're still seeing a market price that doesn't reflect what the current buying and selling reality is on this card. Now, what I suspect may happen is that these cards are probably going to sit for a couple of days. I don't think that the 180 is the actual value of the price, certainly not 225. And so as more supply becomes available, as people realize this, they'll probably list the price for like 150 and try and sell it that way, right? And see if people are buying it. And if people buy it then, now the price starts getting settled in. And if people don't buy it at 150, it drops down a bit more until people start buying it, right? And so that's the last piece of the puzzle when you start looking at what things are worth, is when are the sales? And here, the current day for me is the 15th of October, and we're seeing sales at 160 on 1014, 3 different sales with it, right? So that's starting to indicate that, yeah, the market is moving in that direction. If we see it go to 179, 225 when you're watching this on Saturday, which would be like the 17, 16, 17, 18th, then maybe that becomes the new market value of it. But for right now, I'm not saying the market value is $180, and I'm not saying it's 115 either. Realistically, if I look at sales, it's probably about 160 on it. So big difference there. And then on the flip side, we see Jafar Striking Illusionist. For right now, it's definitely not a $77 card. It may be a $62 card. If I'm looking at this, right, we got very few sales here. For me, if I'm looking to buy this card, I don't know if I'm at $62 for it, because these cards have been sitting for a while. So I would probably be looking to buy it a bit lower. This is also a card that I pulled up and kept here, not just to show my example, but something that this could be a big speculation, but if this card gets reprinted, I think when we look at the reveals that came out, the new location, which I was right about, Jafar Striking Illusionist could be meta relevant again, and so you might see a surge in the price of this, right? But that's too many variables because you need it to be reprinted in order for it to be in core constructed again. So I don't know. I think long term, since it's the first Jafar Enchanted as a collector, probably has some longer term value. In short term, it's too much speculation for me to try to buy into it to hope it's going to go up. I might wait for it to drop. Thank you, Sahana. To drop a little bit lower before trying to buy it again, or before trying to buy into it. So, speaking of meta relevant stuff, the Hades, we talked about that last time. We know the price of Blurple is going down. We saw that with Dumbo. It looks like Hades starting to settle in at that 225 price point. We are seeing quite a bit of sales there around that point. So we saw it drop under 200 just barely, and then it's back up to above 200 with it. So it's still, I think, useful in the meta. It's still a really cool card as well, too, from the collector standpoint. So this might be the new stable value of the Hades Infernal Schemer Enchanted card. I don't know for sure. I think if you're really wanting this card for like collector, I'd be hesitant to pull the trigger. I think if I really, really wanted it, I would probably buy it at this point because it may not drop much lower given that there's only 21 listings of it. It's a risk either way because obviously if there's a big tournament and something happens, the price of this could go back up again. So it's always difficult on these sorts of decisions, especially when you're talking about $225. That's a lot of money. So I'll leave that to you. Other example we see with the Along Came Zeus, market price 106, most recent sale 88. This price is dropping. It's being listed for $80 here. So continue to come down on that. High sale price we had at 185 back when it was super meta relevant, right? That was back in April for that, before a lot of changes occurred. We had a decent surge in late September. I don't exactly know what caused that, considering this is from set 3, but we're seeing a big drop off afterwards on that. So interesting stuff. This is an example of something where the price does update. When I checked this last time, I don't remember if I mentioned it in the latest video or the last one that came out, where the average price, the market price of this hadn't come down. And so I didn't end up buying the card because the delta between what the lowest listing was and the market price when I was trying to buy it was too great. After a bit of time and a few more sales, it comes back down to where it should be. I think we're seeing this probably stabilize here. I'm not going to buy one blind unless I can see it, because this is going in personal collection and it's something that I'm trying to get a PSA 10 in. So if you're following the channel, you know my Princess Collection Challenge, they all got to be PSA 10s. And so I need to be able to do some analysis, evaluation of the card before I buy that, right? So, okay, the last topic, and that is the other language printing. Specifically, I did a search of filtering on 130 point, so 130point.com. You can look at past sales with this and you can put in your own filters, search conditions. I did this for Japanese printing. And the reason I did this is because it's the exact same card. They work the exact same way in the meta, but they're also the exact same artwork with it. It's just the language is different. But the price of these cards is significantly lower than what it is in English. And so this is an opportunity not as a collector or investor in the game. This is something of where, like, if you're wanting that card, you're wanting the artwork, maybe look outside of English printing on cards. So the Artful Rogue Mickey Mouse sold for $100, and I think that actually may be a little bit high. Elsa, Spirit of Winter, Enchanted, PSA 10 in Japanese, sells for about $450. That's almost half of what the English Enchanted goes for ungraded, not even a PSA 10. It's the exact same card though. Here we got it for less than half of what it was in terms of ungraded English. Wayward Sorcerer here, $46. I think in English this card can sell for like $460, so it's a factor of 10 difference with it. More Elsa, it's popular. Hades, I think there's another $250 card in there selling for $56. So, you can scroll down, you can see it. This is just the first 11 entries to come with it. If you really like the artwork on some of these cards, like the Elsa or the Big Tink or even like Stitch, I think Stitch Carefree Surfer sells for like $100 in Japanese and a PSA 10. that's an opportunity to collect the cards you want without having to pay that ridiculous premium that can come with it being in English printing. Am I saying you should do this for collecting it for long term, as it's going to have long term value? No. In fact, I would recommend the opposite of it. I don't think that the Japanese, Chinese, or other printings of Lorcana are going to carry a lot of long term value. I don't know how it is in Pokemon. I would guess that the Japanese Pokemon cards carry some value. I don't know if they have as much as the English, but because Pokemon started in Japan, there's probably a larger fan base there and demand for the card compared to when you talk about Lorcana. Yes, Ravensburger is a German company, right? But the Disney property, that whole company is American, so it's very English based. So it's going to be the American fan base that is going to drive up prices. And so are they really going to want other languages, be it German, Italian, whatever it is? I'm guessing no. And so we would also consider that Disney is so much more popular in America because it started here. It's been here for over 100 years. In Japan, I'm going to guess that it's nowhere near as popular as like Pokemon is. And it will ever be. Probably not. I wouldn't expect Lorcana or even Disney properties to do that, right? I think it's perfectly reasonable and understandable in that. I'm not judging in any way. It's just a reality of the fact of if you're an investor, especially long term, I don't think other languages outside of English is the play here. So if you're watching this from a long-term collector investor standpoint, I would say stay away from the other language variants outside of some niche buyers that you may come across. Stick to the English printing. And if you're a person who wants to collect shiny cardboard because you love the art and you don't care that it has a different language printed on it, it's the exact same artwork, this is the way to go. I think this is a much cheaper way to acquire the cards that you want because there's so many cards in Lorcana that I want that this can be a really nice way to do that while on a much tighter budget with everything, right? And so I think that's the more fiscally responsible thing to do if you meet those conditions. So that's going to wrap it up for today's Market Watch video. I think this has been a bit informational with it. There's been some changes. It's kind of the standard stuff going on in the market. First chapter still continues to go up. The Floodborn is holding steady. So from a sealed standpoint, there isn't a whole lot to talk about. Week to week, I think in sealed aspect, there's not going to be huge changes that we should expect, but we'll track things over long term. So my plan is to talk more about sealed probably monthly and just do like a monthly snapshot on things because it'll likely change over that time frame. When it comes to singles, I do expect there is going to be a constant week to week change on things. And so that's going to be my plan going forward is, weekly we do singles and then like once a month we talk about the sealed aspect of things. And ideally, assuming I have enough topics to talk about, I will give some insight from being a collector, being an investor, whether I talked about FOMO last time, how TCG market price works on there, or any other topics that may come up where I think of something like, oh, that could be very useful information for you to know. If you appreciate stuff like that, let me know. I will continue doing that. If you have topics that you want to see as well too, also let me know in the comments and I will make a video where I give my thoughts, my opinions on these topics. And as always, I will keep you informed about the stuff that I'm spending money on. If you're interested in the business side of things and what I'm buying and selling, then either check out YouTube Shorts or also go to my Instagram page where I give behind the scenes on the numbers of what I'm selling things for and how much profit or loss, because that does happen, that I'm taking on the cards there on the business side of the house. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy this, please subscribe. Please keep leaving comments. I appreciate it so much. I hope you're having a wonderful day and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.